in the 40 days that we want to make a change, besides that we want to impress the Kadosh Baruch Hu, we want to make him understand that we take him as our king and nobody else, and all these good things that we talked about. We're going to do a few things that are not just personally for us. Of course, we have to do a tikkun for us. And we're going to go through this in a few moments. But one of the things that we're going to need to focus on doing is what we read in the prayer Relentless Chabert, that we say, Letaken olam bemalchut Shaddai, is to correct and rectify the world. And we say something that doesn't make much sense. It's called Letaken et haolam, to fix and correct the world, bemalchut Shaddai, in the malchut of Shin Dolly Yud. Shin Dolly Yud is one of Hashem's names. Now, I'm not going to talk about it at all. I'm just now throwing some information what we have to prepare for. We're going to make a class specifically, probably a few classes, just on this tikkun. What does it mean to letaken olam bemalchut Shaddai? What does it mean? How are we going to have to do it? And everything around that. I'm just going to touch a few parts that we didn't talk about yet. Another thing that we're going to have to do, this is something that we're going to talk about now, is that I explained that the 40 days, there's a significance to why it's 40. Not only because they left on the 29th of Sivan and came back on Tisha B'Av. There's a reason beyond that why it's 40 days. But the 40 days are divided into 4. So 10 days, 10 days, 10 days, and 10 days. Which in these 10 days, we are going to go through 4 levels. The point of these 4 levels, which will at some point go parallel to Letaken olam bemalchut Shaddai, but we're going to have to go from one level to another level to another level. You can't jump from the bottom to the top. It's almost like having a little step, and if you jump the little step, you can probably do it. But if you're going to have 10 steps, or if you try from the ground to jump on the table, then very few people can do that. Most people will try and fall. The same idea here. We can't climb to a high level without going through steps. So a lot of people are asking, like, what do we need to do? What are we doing in these 40 days? You don't have to get too excited. We're going to go in steps every day. You don't have to now have the overview of the entire 40 days. We have general things that we need to know, and then slowly we're going to go through it. A big part of climbing the 4 steps is to understand that we're going to have to go through 4 steps that will be divided to 10 days each step. These 10 steps, these 10 days of each one of the 4 steps, they correspond to many things. One of them is for the 4 spiritual worlds, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah, which we are going the other way around. We're now, the first 10 days correspond to the Olam of Asiyah, the lowest of all. That's why right now in the first 10 days we're more focusing on actions that we need to do. And first of all, we're like, okay, let's first get our act together. That's how they say in English, right? Let's get our act together. Why? Because we're now in the world of action. The next set of 10 days will correspond to the world of Yetzirah, which I'm not going to even explain now. It's irrelevant now to understand. When we reach to these 10 days in a week, then I'll explain what's going on. The next 10 days will be corresponding to the world of Bria, and our point is to get to the world of Atzilut in the fourth term. And again, I will explain then what's going on and what's happening. I'm just now giving you some overview. Another way to approach these 4 segments is that when we do sins, we damage the name of Hashem. I'm sure for the ones who are praying Kriyat Shema L'Mitah, according to the Nosach, to the style of the Ari HaKadosh, there's a part where we do a certain prayer that we accept on ourselves 4 deaths of the court. It's called Arba Mitot Beidin. And we say, if I've damaged the letter Yud by doing certain sins, then I accept on myself a certain death. There's 4 types of death that the Beit Din can punish a person. I'm not going to elaborate on this right now, but we do know that every sin that we do will damage a certain letter in the name of Hashem. When I'm saying I'm not going to elaborate on this right now, it's not that I'm going to leave you in the dark. We are going to have classes on that. I'm now just telling you kind of that you have an idea what we're going into. So the first, like I just said, there's a reason that we're going to have to slowly ascend through steps. The next one is that we're going to have to do a tikkun. Every one of the 10 days is for one of the letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei. So now we're in the first term, then the tikkun is the letter Yud, and then the letter Vav, the letter Hey, and then the letter Vav, and then the letter Hey. Which the ultimate, the final part, the final 10 days is to correct the Hey Tata'ah, the last Hey, and this will go parallel with the Taken Ma'olam Malchut Shaddai. And I'm sure many of you know the term tshuva. When a person does tshuva, he repents. But really, what is the word tshuva? If you take the word tshuva and cut the last hey, is tashuv hey, that you return the hay that fell into the klippah. That's really tshuva. I mean, of course, the literal explanation is tshuva, to repent. But what do I do when I do tshuva? Is I take the last hay of Yud Kei Vav Kei that fell into the klippah, and I will return it. Tashuv, bring back the hay. That will lead to the last 10 days. So a big part of what we're going to do is every quarter of this term, the first 10 days, we're doing a tikkun for the letter Yud, which, again, I will explain what we're doing. Next term, letter Hey, and then Vav, and then a Hey. Next, there's another part that we damage while we do sins, that we're going to have to do another type of a rectification for that. That everything in this world is built from elements. There's nothing in the world that is not built from these 4 elements, both in the spiritual world and in the physical world. The elements, even though they sound physical, they're not only physical. So of course the elements are the fire, wind, water, air. I mean, in Hebrew you say wind, ruach, but it's air. So fire, air, water, and afar, and earth. There's the physical part of the elements and the spiritual part of the elements. When we do a spiritual blemish, then it affects the elements in the spiritual level. So we're going to have to also learn a little bit more in depth about the structure of the elements, both in the spiritual and the physical world, so I can understand how is that affecting me. Because I can do different damages, spiritual damages, in these elements that will affect me eventually. Since we are on a journey of a tikkun, then we have to focus on that too. So this is another step that we're going to have to do, how we are involving in the tikkun these 4 elements. So we're going to have to learn more about the elements themselves, how they're affecting me, because if you remember, I think maybe over a year ago, we were learning from a book called Sha'arei Kedusha, written by Rabbi Chaim Vital. And the first part of it, we started learning about the elements, how they affect my midot, my characteristics, which that's a huge part of my tshuva. The first term, the first quarter of the 40 days, my tshuva is more, we need to focus on the physical things. Stop lying, stop slandering, stop saying lashon hara, stop. Because when I don't stop and when I don't contain the kedusha, that's when I'm making all the damage. A high level of our tshuva, which we are going to more discuss and learn in the second quarter, the third quarter, is the tshuva of my midot. You know, I can do tshuva in a physical level for stealing, for slandering, for doing something physical. But you know, you also have to do tshuva for anger and jealousy and being judgmental. You have to do tshuva for that. And this is not something that I invent. Go to the book of Rambam, Hilchot Tshuva, Laws of Tshuva, and he says there, a person has to do tshuva for kas. You lost your temper, you have to do tshuva for that. First of all, you let anger on somebody else. So you have to give an apology and to rectify that. But also when you lose your anger, you're doing a damage in the world above. I'm not talking right now the Chilul Hashem. Chilul Hashem, that's the umbrella above everything. But there has to be some type of rectification. So a big part of the tikkun, of the tshuva, is my midot. My own characteristics that I damage them with my negligence, with my impatience and so forth. So we're going to learn more thoroughly about that. What I'm telling you right now is a very general overview of things that we're going to need to focus on, because a lot of people, they're like, okay, where are we going in this journey? Well, we're going in this journey to do, first of all, tikkun to the entire world. Then, tikkun to what we damaged. Then, to what we sinned for my own personal neshama and my own body. The idea here is not only to affect everything around me, is to build a system that after the 40 days, you're still working on your tshuva. I told you already before, if you're seeing this whole thing as a 40-day term, then you think that after 40 days, business as usual, then don't even start the 40 days. Why are you wasting your time? This is not a diet. This is a shift in your life. Because if you're going to go back to how you were, I'm not saying that you're going to waste your time for 40 days, but the whole point is that to take a strong shift in your life. If you are not spiritually, emotionally, and mentally ready for this shift, it's not going to work. We have to understand that it has to be a huge change. You can't continue as you are. And if you don't have the mind frame for that, then could be that the 40 days, first of all, won't be successful, and on that, you're not going to get anywhere. It's taking on yourself a decision. That's why I told you on Motzei Shabbat to go home and think, because you have to prepare. This is not just that we meet here a few hours every day and we learn a little bit. That's very nice. That we've been learning for the last 5 years. Nothing changed. The point is to say, okay, enough is enough. I need to make a huge change in my path for the sake of Hashem, for the sake of the entire planet, for the sake of my neshama, and how am I doing it? So the journey again is not just that we're sitting here and we're praying in a minyan. That's the minimum of the minimum of the minimum, is that we need to focus on all sorts of things, because you can't go to do a certain job if you don't have the right tools. So we need the minimum of the minimum. Then we'll slowly grow as it goes. So the point to understand from that is everything that we learn, this has to become part of the system and stick. And it's not, don't have them like, okay, I'm not going to eat meat for 40 days. That's what people tell me. Okay, so I'm not going to eat meat for 40 days. The whole point is I'm not trying to put you on some spiritual diet. The fact is, forget about theories. The fact is, and some people can and will argue on that, but the fact is that the majority of the meat in our generation is not kosher. If you want to go and raise your own animals in a private farm, and bring a private shochet that will come and you count on his yirat shamayim, on his God-fearing, and all the things around. So I'm not going to tell you not to eat. I'm going to tell you, okay, but you have to make sure that it's kosher. For me, I see that the majority of the meat out there, it could be that I'm wrong. So maybe it's not 90%, maybe it's 80%. But if there's a doubt, then I don't want to touch it. Could be that I'm off in my calculations and it's 50%. But how do you know? If is a doubt, you know that if you buy, let's say, a box of cherries. My wife bought a box of cherries not too long ago. She took the first cherry, full of worms. Second cherry, full of worms. Third cherry, full of worms. So she threw the whole thing. Why? Because if the first 3, 4, 5 cherries are all full of worms, most likely the majority of the entire box is full of worms. So the same thing the other way around. Last Shabbat she bought a box of cherries. We opened the first one, the second one, third one. After 10 cherries, I told her, you have a majority here. Achrei rabim le'atot. You go by the majority. Achrei rabim le'atot. This is a foundation in halacha. You have a majority, you go with the majority. In many cases, they're always exceptional. So if you have a box of cherries and there's 100 cherries there, and the first 10 don't have very likely that the whole box is fine. But Same thing with the meat. I gave already lectures on that. I think we're going to do another lecture because I don't think that it resonated real well with a lot of people, that it cannot be that the meat can be kosher. And again, there's exceptions. If the animals were raised in a slaughterhouse or in a torture chamber, they're not kosher. If a chicken is in a chicken coop all its life and it's going already cuckoo from not even able to flap its wings, and because it's going so cuckoo, you know what they do, the chickens? They start pecking each other. So they break their beaks. And then they're sitting there in a cage like this all their life. This is called tsar balei chaim. This is torture to the animal. If the animal was tortured prior to the shechita, there's a huge safek. Safek is a doubt that this animal is even kosher to be slaughtered. And in many cases, they're not. Now, how do you know? Well, you interviewed the chicken on your plate. You can know where it came from. And again, I don't want to now elaborate specifically on all this. We will do a lecture just on that. But what I'm saying is that it's a fact. It's not, listen, if a person has te'ava, strong lust and desire for meat, then he will contradict me till tomorrow. We'll find all the reasons why to contradict. Okay, so you have a desire. Yesterday I spoke with somebody also. Oh, I need Pargiot, chicken, how do you call them? Pargiot. Well, in English, Americans don't know what pargiot is. It's like baby chicken or whatever. I said, this is disgusting. Look at you. What are you craving? A flesh? This is a te'ava. A man can desire and lust to a woman. Somebody can have the same craving to drugs, alcohol, gambling. You have a desire, and you call it for something kosher, for meat. That's already a sign that something's wrong here, if you desire something uncontrollably. So the fact is that, and again, I'm not going to get into this right now, the meat, most of it is not kosher. Now, if you are a God-fearing person, then even if there's a small doubt, then you say, okay, I'm not even going to get myself into this situation. So of course, the ones that can control their desire, I don't know if you say even desire on meat. In Hebrew you say te'ava, a lust. A lust sounds weird for meat. Lust, usually a man will lust a woman. But craving is not really a te'ava. Craving is like a very small. Te'ava is that I can't control myself. Then I'm walking here in the street and I'm smelling the shawarma of Rafi and I go all cuckoo. A normal person will go through the shawarma, smell it, you want to throw up. But if it pulls you, then there's something wrong there. So now, if a person is a God-fearing person, what does it mean God-fearing? It's not that you're fearing that you're afraid of God. That you fear to chas v'shalom be separated from God. And you know, I had a conversation with these two young men that were here in the morning. One of them got everything completely wrong. Because I told him, you have to focus a lot on the bad. No, I want to focus on the good. I said, I don't know who you're listening to, who you're learning from, who's your rabbi. We don't focus on the good. You know why you don't focus on the good? Because you need to focus on the result. If the result of the good will be good, then focus on the good. But if the result of the bad will be good, then you focus on the bad. You don't focus on what's in front of you. You focus on the end result. That's why our masters told us, Ezu hachacham, who's a real wise person? Haroeh et hanolad, that sees what's going to be born from a situation. So if I see that from a certain situation, something extremely positive will be born, but the situation is negative, what should I focus on? I should focus on the negative. Why? Because by focus on it and applying a certain action, it will birth something good. So I need to focus on the bad, right? So it's almost like missing the point. So same thing here. A lot of people they're missing the point. So when it comes for specifically Yirat Shamayim is God-fearing. Are you afraid of God? You're not afraid of God. Neither one of you, including me, because even if you're afraid of God, you wouldn't even dare to even sneeze the wrong direction. You wouldn't even dare to say a lie. You wouldn't even think of saying Lashon Hara. You would be like this. This is like angels. Angels are afraid of God because they don't really see Hashem, but they see something and they're petrified of God. But we're not, when I'm talking about Yirat Shamayim, always on Shabbat, I always tell people you should have Yirat Shamayim. It's not that I'm afraid of God. I'm afraid to be separated from God for 1 second, because that's my lifeline. Imagine now somehow I will have control over the air that you can breathe. You'll be afraid. I'm afraid to be separated from God. How do you get separated from God? Do a sin, you'll be separated from Him. Very simple, no? So Yereh Shamayim, God-fearing, that I'm afraid to be chas v'shalom, separated from God. Now if I worked the last 20 years very hard on my tshuva, I came from the bottom of the world to where I am right now, and this took a lot of hard work. This did not come like this overnight. So you think I'm going to jeopardize that for a shuarma? Or for something that is minor? Now why wouldn't want to jeopardize that? It's because I'm afraid to lose my connection with Hashem. If you don't feel that you have a connection with Hashem, that's bad news. Can I say privately what you asked me? Yeah? Sure. Okay, I said in one of my classes not too long ago, Hashem is not your friend. And we're not going to mention names, but, no, because of the camera. But there was a question, but babe, Hashem is like my best friend. So at times of needs, and when you need to pour your heart, you need to lean on somebody. Of course Hashem is your best friend. But we always have to remember in the back of my mind, He's the master of the universe. He's the king of all kings. He's my creator. I am His servant. But if you following our prayers on Yom Kippur, we say, Im kebanim, Im keavadim. If I'm looking at you right now as my father, then please treat me in a certain way. If right now I'm behaving in front of you as a slave, then treat me as a master. And if right now it's the time for me, my buddies, then it's the time to, in Hebrew, in the army, it's called lishbor distance. In the army, the Israeli army, the commanders are very tough with you. And after a year and a half that you're in the platoon, they become your friends. But in the first year and a half, or year, depending how long your journey is, if they're going to be your friends, you're going to have zero respect to them. You're going to high-five them, right? So the commanders need to gain your fear, your respect, your awe. When you gain that, now you can be my friend. So when I say Hashem is not your friend, because we have to remember He's our God, He's our master, He's our teacher, He's our everything. But at certain moments, of course Hashem is the most closest thing to me. If you don't feel that Hashem is everything to you, you don't have a relationship with Hashem. And most people on this planet don't have a relationship with Hashem. Either they worship idols, so there's no relationship with Hashem, or there's just no connection there. So of course I have to build a relationship with the Master of the universe. It's not so simple. And when you finally build it, and you feel closeness to Hashem, and you see the miracles how Hashem saves you over and over, and helps you, and provides you, and keeps, and would you be afraid to lose that? This is called Yirat Shamayim. I'm afraid. Of course you can translate the literal level of the text, or you will ask the majority of observant Jews, they'll tell you Yirat Shamayim is that you're trembling from fear from Hashem. Okay, I'll accept that. You have to be afraid of Hashem. Because you're going to cross lines, you're going to get a slap to your face. You have to have fear. And the fear will cause you not to cross lines. But the ultimate Yirat Shamayim, the ultimate God-fearing we want to reach to, is that I don't want to be disconnected from Hashem for one moment. So if there's a chance that I will eat now a juicy steak, but it's not kosher, and it's going to cause me to sin, why would I jeopardize that for a juicy steak? Now, we're talking now about the meat. This is with everything. Why am I focusing on the food? Because a huge part of our existence, our connection to Hashem, and many others, depends on what we eat. Why do you think that a third of the mitzvot in the Torah has to do with food? Now, don't get me on the number now, third. There's the people who will now go look through it's not a third. I'm saying in general. About a third of the mitzvot are somehow around food. Sacrifices, Maasrot, that you have to give a portion of the food in the land. Kil'aim, Shchita, meat and dairy. Shchita means slaughtering. You know how many laws are around food? Obviously, there's something huge. You know that the first sin was with food. One of the biggest tikkunim that we do, I gave a class, I think last year, we called it the Kabbalah of food, where I explained that there were two major sins in the beginning of mankind. One of them was with marital relations, and the other one was with food. Adam and Chava, they sinned with food. And then there was another sin with marital relations. So these are the two departments where we need to do the biggest rectification. That's why these two departments, I'm calling it departments, is the greatest last to most people. Marital relations and food. Because that's the highest level of tikkun. Now if you're able to control the marital the relation department, I don't want to say the word, they're not a nice word, but they write it S-E-X. I call it marital relations because that's what it is. I mean, if you think of any other nice word to say it, let me know. But when you're looking at this department, if you're able to conquer your desire there, wow. And the other department is food. And that's really the main tikkun in this world. We have a serious tikkun to do with the mouth. Mouth, we're not going to get to it now. In the fourth term, in the fourth quarter, when we're supposedly in the world of Atzilut, we're going to really go deep into the whole tikkun of the peh. Peh is the mouth. If you ever read Patach Eliyahu, you should read it every day, by the way. Sephardi Nosach, you read it every day before Shacharit. I think Ashkenazis, I'm not too sure. Chabad, they read it in the Erev Shabbat, in Mincha before Shabbat. But according to the Rashash and the Ari and many other great Mekubalim, every day read it. Because it does such a dishwashing to your soul, such a cleansing to your soul. And we'll touch on that. I do want to learn thoroughly and deeply what it means, the Patach Eliyahu, because that's one a big thing that we're going to end up doing. But if you're a little bit familiar with that, he's talking about the Sfirot, and then when he gets to the Sfirah of Malchut, which that's most of the damages, so he says, Malchut Peh, Torah Shebe'al Peh. What is that connection? Torah Shebe'al Peh and Malchut Peh. What's this Peh? Peh is a mouth. But it's written, Peh, hey. There's a huge tikkun with the mouth. We have a big problem with our mouth as human beings. As I said many times, what goes in and what goes out. You know that most people, they have teeth problems is because what they do with their mouth, not because sugar definitely will ruin it. But if a person guards his mouth, they're not going to have a teeth problem or gum problem or any of these problems. So we have a huge tikkun to do with our mouth. So we have two huge departments. I'm not even now going to get into it because we're going to leave this to a later stage. The marital department, marital relation department, and the food department. So when I say in these 40 days, go without eating meat, it's not because I'm trying to put you on some diet or because I have something personal against the kosher certification. It's because we're trying to elevate ourselves spiritually. And food will affect you from one end to another end. And now here we're talking about the food. It's also the worms and the cleanliness and many other things. But the whole point is that if you are not able to cut off from certain anchors that keep you down in this world, you're not going to be able to elevate yourself to a higher place. You're not going to be able to elevate you to a higher place by the second term of this 40 days. You'll give up already. Or that you'll just go through the 40 days like a robot, and on the 41st day, I'm going to see you down there at the Shuar. It's like on Yom Kippur. That always blows my mind, and don't take it personal. Every Yom Kippur, maybe 3.5 seconds after Yom Kippur is over, people are jumping on the trays over there. Whoa, you just finished a fast. Why are you jumping on the food? You're not really hungry, by the way. You can fast for 3 days like that with no problem. And usually, you might get hungry in the middle of the day, but already towards the end of Yom Kippur, if you're thinking of food, Yom Kippur didn't work so well for you. Because if you did the Yom Kippur the right way, at the end of Yom Kippur, you're not thinking right now of food. That should be your test, how well your Yom Kippur went to. And if you're jumping a second after that on the food, then that's kind of what's going to happen to many people after this 40 days. Now, did they waste their time? No. Did they gain something? Something. But if on the 41st day you're going back to where you started, so this is what our sages say, Yatzas charo be'efsedo. Whatever you gained, you lost right away. So everything that we're doing here, first of all, will be explained thoroughly. It's not stam to drive you nuts. I can tell you already that the more you are particular with your diet, the more spiritual you're going to become. It goes together. Because as they say in America, you are what you eat. And if you're focused, you know that you don't really, I don't even know who invented that, by the way, but somebody invented that you have to eat 3 times a day. Did you know, what's the source to that? Why? I eat once a day, that's enough for me. And you eat a little bit of fruit or vegetables in the morning, that should be sufficient. And people, they have already in their mind, we have to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack, brunch. That's so unhealthy. It's extremely unhealthy to shove things in your mouth all day long. Excuse how I express myself. It's very unhealthy. So I can tell you already from the history of great Mikubalim, they barely eat. You know, the Baba Sali didn't eat the whole week. The Baba Sali will fast from Sunday to Friday. Drink a little bit of water, and he would eat on Shabbat. And I don't need to tell you what the Baba Sali, what levels he has reached, and many others. Now we're not going to even go to the department of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. What do you think he ate? 13 years in a cave. He had a little wellspring that brought him a little bit of water, and the carob tree. You ever tried to eat a carob? Forget about the bitter. Break your teeth. What does it do to the digesting system if you can barely chew on it? So the mouth is detrimental to my existence. So again, when I'm saying the meat, I will explain more. I explained it enough, but I will explain more that there's a huge risk. And don't get me wrong, there might be some mistakes and the slaughtering was done right. I can tell you already, and there's halakha to that. It's not that I'm inventing something here. It's just that people don't want to listen because they want the meat. Exactly like we read 2 weeks ago that they almost killed Moshe Rabbeinu because they wanted meat. To a point that Moshe Rabbeinu already, literally in simple words, lost it. And up until today, this is considered one of the sins. Hamit onenim, the ones who were complaining. What do you want from me? We want meat! That's what you want from me? I just came down from Shemaim to give you Torah, and you're asking for meat? So Moshe Rabbeinu lost it. So, there are many people that hold themselves as observant, God-fearing people, but they'll argue with you. Also, so I heard all the arguments already. But there is a halakha. What I'm saying, I'm not inventing. If the animal was tortured, there's a high chance that it's not kosher before even it was slaughtered. I'm not telling you right now the process of the slaughtering, because it doesn't even make sense. You know, in Israel, there's about, let's say, 1 million people that eat kosher food. Let's say. It's probably 2 or 3. But let's say 1 million. And let's say each one of them eats 1 chicken a month. That's 1 million chickens to slaughter every month. On an average, a person will eat 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chickens a month. Where are all these chickens? Who slaughters them? And how fast it needs to be done. So you want to tell me that this can be kosher? Shochtim are testimony? What is testifying? That they are forced to slaughter 500, 600, 700 chickens a day. I don't know how you can do that. It's not even, there's no chance that it will be kosher. 600 chickens a day? If you do 100, you're real good and you worked for 10 hours. So, I don't want to put too much to go on the meat. I don't know if you know how we got distracted with the meat. The point is that everything that we have set in the beginning, there's a reason for that. So in the second and third term, I will call it a term, a quarter, and we will learn a lot about why our prayers are so important, and what's a prayer, how to pray. Now we're just kind of laying down the foundation. Later on, we'll go into a much more in-depth teaching. Now, when I told this not too long ago to somebody, so he says, but if you're going to teach us on the 36th day something so vital, so I missed the first 36th day, I'm only going to have 4 days to apply it. No, that means if you're only going to have 4 days to apply it according to you, then on the 40th day you're stopping. So you're going to have the rest of your life to apply it. It just happens to be that we learned it on the 36th day. You're not missing anything. You're not going to be able to handle this right now if we learn this right now. Not that I'm chas v'shalom discounting you. I'm saying handle it because we have to go one step after the other, till we refine ourselves. We have to first clean a little bit the body, a little bit of detox, so the mind should be a little bit more clear, that you can accept certain concepts, that you can remember, apply it, do it. So the point I want to make from this short class is that it's not a journey for 40 days. We're calling it 40 days because it's corresponding to the 40 days that the spies were on their journey. But this is a forever journey. It's not that you're going to stop at some point. With the Torah, you go higher and higher and higher. There's no stops. But it's very important to understand where we're going to. A lot of people think it's like, some people, they want to show solidarity to something, so they go on a 2-mile walk. Okay, I never understood that, but okay, you want to walk, so walk. But then what? You finish your walk, then what? So we're not walking now for 40 days. We're getting information. The reason why the 40 days, because it is an auspicious time, because right now we know that these 40 days weren't good for us in history. And we know there is a strong judgment against us. When I'm saying us, not only as Jews, as the entire human race. So now if we do some type of action that we are going to convince the master of the universe that we are willing to better ourselves, our thoughts, our behavior, our speech, our action. You can't fool the Kadosh Baruch Hu, by the way. He doesn't buy excuses. Hashem likes seeing actions. Don't forget that Hashem sees forward. He sees what's going to happen. You have to be sincere with what you're about to do. So some of you took on yourself 40 days not to talk. Good. On the 41st day, you can talk if you want. If you did the Ta'anit Dibur good, probably on the 41st day, you were not going to even want to talk. You're going to be like, I don't want now to again filthy my mouth with junk. Very few people can survive the 40 days, but after 40 days that you don't talk, you don't want to talk even. You already figured out how to communicate. You're saying, I don't need to talk. I don't need to talk. I'm fine without talking. You don't gain much with talking, by the way. We can communicate with looking at each other and nodding. So, most of all, what you need to focus on is not what's going to happen on the 31st day. Is what and I am applying from the first day, the second day, the third day, today is the fourth day, then it has to be applied every day, and that should become a way of life. You know that the Torah, a lot of people call the Torah or Judaism a religion. If it's a religion, then it's not going to work. The Torah is a way of life. Ki hi chayenu ve'orech yamenu. It's our life, but it's also the length of my life. It's the days of our life. So the Torah is telling me how to live in this world. The Torah is a manual. The Torah comes from the word in Hebrew, hora'ah. Because Adam HaRishon fell from his spiritual level by sinning, so he lost his ability to see what's going on. Needless to say that with the sin of Adam HaRishon, all the godly sparks that he contained fell into the physical world, and now you have to sift them. Now, how do you know what's good and what's bad? Because it fell into the klipa. So the Torah comes and tells me, this is kosher, this is not kosher. This is pure, this is impure. This is correct, this is incorrect. This is permitted, this is not permitted. It's called avodat haberurim, the sifting, that you sift between things. So, I need to know how to act in this world. If the Torah tells me, do not mix wool and linen, there's a reason for that. You might not understand it, but the Torah is not giving me a suggestion. It's telling me, if you want to survive the journey, do this. Of course, the Yetzer Hara is going to come and do exactly what he did to Chava and try to manipulate the situation. So again, we're trying to Chadesh Yamenu Kekedem. Chadesh Yamenu Kekedem is renew the days how they were before. So most of that, very soon Mashiach is going to come. We need to also prepare for that. I think a lot of people will not be able to survive because they're not going to be ready for the change. A lot of people don't want change. That's why it's very hard for a lot of people, this whole Corona thing, because they got out of their boring, mundane, repetitive life. They want to go back. What do you want to go back to? Most people didn't have it so good before Corona. What do you want to go back to? So now people are complaining. Why are you complaining? Hashem is already preparing us to a change. He's doing it so nice and so calm. It's not coming with a 100-foot wave or with a yet. I didn't want to say that, but Hashem is now giving us, start preparing. The change is good. It's not good. I know a lot of people will say, but I lost my job, Chas v'shalom, I lost my career. You didn't lose anything. Hashem is now doing you a favor. He's taking you away from your suffering and your agony. But He's doing it with a slow process. Like a dentist. When you go to the dentist and you have to do a serious procedure, I don't know if you ever did that, but they don't give you one shot. He gives you 10 shots. One here, 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 because there's different nerves. This nerve, if it's under the Novocaine, then this nerve is numb. But he has to give it to this nerve, and this nerve, and this nerve, and same thing with Hashem. Hashem is now, he has to get rid of all sorts of nerves, if you want to define it like that. Same thing here. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu is doing us a huge favor. Yeah, I know, it's not so easy to suffer a change. It will come with a lot of suffering and hardship, but it's to prepare us to the redemption. If not, we're going to get the shock of our life. Most people will not be able to contain this shock. That one of the many reasons why there were 10 plagues in Mitzrayim is a big question. Why do you need 10 plagues? Hashem couldn't just go there and go like that, take them all out and finish the whole thing. Why the Hollywood production? A whole year of destruction. Because Hashem also prepared them mentally, emotionally, physically. So there's going to be something big. So first it came with a little bit of blood and frogs and animals, and Hashem is also preparing us. Most people are still in some haze, they're not prepared. So what we want to take from this right now is don't focus too much on what's going to happen. Focus on today, focus on tomorrow. We're going to take it one step at a time. Like I told you, we're going to learn more, we'll explore more, we'll cover everything. Everything will be explained. Right now, you have to see, like I told you before, the result. What is the result that I want to achieve? If you're focusing on right now, it's not going to work so well. You have to focus on the result, not on what we're going to learn in 2 weeks. The result is I want to be a much better individual. I want to be more close to Hashem. I want to really have fear to Hashem, but not fear of Him, fear to be left out. I want to develop unbelievable love to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Needless to say, a better person. I don't want to deal with my own issues. The thing is that most people are afraid to deal with their own issues. It's a sore, open wound. But you have to deal with it. You better deal with it. There's a reason why we have issues. Everybody have issues. You're not the only one, by the way. But it has to be dealt with. I want to, if I have when I became observant, since I was 2 years old, I had a serious, horrible issue with anger. My poor people, my poor parents. I said, do you think you get rid of the anger right away? It takes years. But that was already one of my things in the back of my mind. I want to be a better person. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to lose my temper. I don't want to, get upset like that. This is not because, somebody made me upset. I am the problem. So there's a joke. I'm not going to now elaborate on the details of the joke, but because it might be a little bit of Lashon Hara, but the joke says that they asked a certain individual that is coming from a background known to be as a background of people that are very quick to anger. So they told him, why you get upset all the time? So he says, I don't get upset. People get me upset. לא שאני מתעצבן, מעצבנים אותי. And nothing wrong with me. People bother me. So that's a wrong attitude. If something bothers me over and over, I'm the problem. But like I told you in the morning, most people don't want to admit that they are the problem. If you reach to the level that you admit that you are the problem, then that's it. You already did 90% of the tikkun. You know, not that I do it now because I'm busy, but for a while I used to help couples, shlom bayit, marital problems. And usually what I would do is I would meet them separately first. First the wife, then the husband, hear what they have to say, then put them together. 99% of the couples in the first initial meeting, the whole meeting was them complaining about how bad the other is. One out of the blue, there was somebody who was saying, no, I'm the problem, I'm the problem, I'm the problem. It would always be, and she, and he, and he. But that's the problem not only in marriages. That's why most marriages are hard, because you throw it on the other side. But it's with everything. We don't see ourselves. We need to start looking at ourselves, because I am the problem. Now, you are not the problem, by the way. If you get me upset, I am the problem, not you. You just happen to be crossing my way. I had a bad day or whatever it is. So, but then all this is part of a huge process of tshuva, and you want to do serious tshuva. Whether chas v'shalom you leave this world today and you go to the world above, you don't want to go with a pile of junk. And on the other hand, you know, the storm is coming. One of the last videos, maybe 2 days ago, I said since we have a flood coming, so we have to, remember I gave you the class about Noach and Ham, Shem and Ham. Somebody emailed us, what flood is coming? Why is the rabbi saying there's a flood coming? Did you hear about something? Yeah, there is a flood coming. The flood is already started. I mean, the flood has always been there. Flood is something that comes and washes things. You know, the flood is also called Maim Rabim. The Baal HaTanya says Maim Rabim, this flood is Deagot HaParnasa, worrying about livelihood. So there's a flood already now, but I'm talking about a physical one. So the storm is coming. Only our tshuva will help us. It says in the Talmud, in Tractate Sanhedrin, if you want to survive the coming war at the end of days, ya'asok beTorah, he has to learn Torah, but to make it like his business, be'asok beTorah u'vegmilut chasadim, and acts of kindness. So you have to learn Torah, ya'asok beTorah, la'asok comes from the word esek. Esek is a business, which means that it's not only learning Torah, it's fulfilling the mitzvot, everything that has to do with the Torah. You have to be like this to the Torah. And gemilut chasadim, acts of kindness, all day long, acts of kindness, acts of kindness. I told you, I think maybe 500 times, if not more, that a lot of people tell me, listen, I sent you a text message, I emailed you, you still didn't answer. Well, wait in line. I got today 3,000 emails. So somebody also told me the other day, I text you. You text me? A second after you came in another 500 text messages. I don't see your text. We have a whole crew of girls going through emails, filtering emails, text messages. Baruch Hashem, our system, it takes thousands of messages daily. So constantly we have to increase in the people who are taking messages. So yesterday I sat with somebody and I was giving him the idea. You know, there's a first line of filter, the emails come in. So there's a first line of defense. They're spreading the emails. Who's going to deal with them? And anyways, and I said, and at some point, some of them will be filtered and come to you. And I was giving him the basic idea. And now I told him my chain of thought. I don't even know what I was talking about. Emails, no, with him preparing him, but what did I want to say? So, see, now that I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say. Okay. So, this individual, a lot of the people who do all this work, they volunteer. Most of the people who help us, they volunteer. But some of them, they need parnasah, they need to get paid. So he was talking about something, and then I said, listen, if you do an hour of this a day, 2 hours of this a day, this is the ultimate chesed that you can do. The ultimate kindness you can do is that you take of your time to help another person in dire straits, in need, in a time of that their life is falling apart. Do it even 1 hour a day. You're not going to find many mitzvot like that you dedicate from your time, from your patience, from your expertise to help another person. Now you help 20 people a day, 30 people a day, 40 people a day. Sometimes I have days that I'm 5-6 hours just answering WhatsApp messages. When the corona started, I was like a hotline. All in all. But when you see you affecting people, changing people's life, this is the ultimate chesed one can do. Chesed is kindness and charity. So our sages say, you want to survive the coming storm, then you have to make the Torah your business. Not that you sell things, but like a business, you're immersed in the Torah from morning to night, and gemilut chasadim, and acts of kindness. And needless to say, you can't go and lie, cheat, slander, and all the rest of the stuff. But the fact that we need to do tshuva, serious tshuva, is detrimental to our survival. I don't accept the people who say, don't worry, everybody will survive the redemption. And no, I don't agree with that. And not because I'm somebody to disagree, but we have text, we have prophecies that says that. So how can you go against prophecies? And then we also have facts that we see in front of our eyes. I strongly hold by that not everybody will survive the coming redemption. So don't live in some la-la land or some rabbi or somebody told you, don't worry, it's okay, come once a month to shul, you'll find, give $18 or even more, and you'll be fine. Doesn't work like that. And especially now, 80% of the nation of Israel stayed in Mitzrayim, willingly. And some of them didn't even have the zchut to leave. And with that said, we need to understand that this 40 days, don't look at it as 40 days, looking at it as that you're going into a journey of your life. We're going to climb spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, to become a much better you. And that's why I told you in the beginning, go home, take a piece of paper, start writing. How would the best version of you would look? And I'm not talking about you want to now have a muscular body or be a superstar. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you would have some type of a wish list, how would you be as the best version spiritually? Then write that list, and that's what you need to aim for. Because if you striving to this direction, go after this. You can't settle with what you are now because you have a yarmulke and you come to shul 3 times a day. That's very nice to you. But you have to aim for the stars, not to the sky. And then you start pursuing it. So now what we need to do is to understand that this is not a temporary thing. This is not something that we're going to get rid of in 36 days because we're already on the 4th day. It's not a countdown. It's a count up. Happened to be that we're going to do it in the 40 days. And it doesn't mean that on the 41st day we're going to start doing the 41st day video. But hopefully when we reach then we can really go wild on this tshuva thing. So prepare yourself. This is only going to be beneficial to everybody. Even if you're not 100% following everything that we say, still do that. Even if you think that there's a chance that in 2 weeks you'll not going to be able to continue, still follow through. Do whatever you can. Some people take it to the extreme. Some people say, listen, I'll do my best. Okay, do your best, but do something. Don't settle for the best. Settle for more than the best. But the point where we're going with this is that we want to prepare for the coming of the storm. And a lot of people don't like hearing it, so we'll say we want to prepare for the coming of the redemption. And Bezrat Hashem, we can sweeten the judgments and the show, the grand finale. This is going to be a grand finale. And Hashem is not a friar, by the way. He waited 3,000 years. He's going to come with a show and a half. Because this is going to be the return of the master of the universe. This is not some president of a Hollywood star. So when Hashem is coming back to this world, full blown, I guarantee to you, we are going to see a production and a half. Hashem is not just going to just come into the world and say, I'm here. So that's what I'm saying. We, as a human race, we have to understand that Hashem is coming here with all of His might. So we're up to amazing surprises. Now you just have to hold strong. I wanted to see the show. I want to see the show. Even if after that I have to leave. I want to see it with my own eyes. I think it's going to be one of the most miraculous visions we can even imagine. So we have a lot what to hope for. We have a lot what to look for. And we have to take everything serious. Don't take it light. Take it seriously. Because one of the many reasons why we decided 40 is because our sages teach us if you do something for 40 consecutive days, that's how you say? Yeah. Consecutive, then after that you broke the main barrier. Stick to it 40 days, you'll be able to break the first wall of opposition. It will be much easier after that. So, at this point, we just need to do. When I was a young individual, a teenager, I constantly would get in trouble. My father always would give me these pep talks. And one time he talked to me, and I told him, so what do you want me to do? So in Hebrew, it sounds much better in English. I told him, ma lasot, what to do? So he told me, lasot, do. No, don't throw theories, do. Start doing. So we're going step by step. Do. Don't. At this point, we don't need too much explanations and questions. Just do. Right? Now, like the nation of Israel, Naaseh v'nishma. First we'll do, then we ask, and eventually you'll get all your answers. B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should open our minds, open our hearts, as we pray every day. P'tach libi b'toratecha v'mitzvotecha tirdof nafshi. Most people are already tired at this point of the prayer. They don't even notice what they're saying. The translation is, open my heart with your Torah, so my soul, my nefesh, can pursue your mitzvot. Most people, they don't feel like doing a mitzvah. You have to force them to do. So we're asking Hashem, P'tach libi b'toratecha. Use the Torah. The Torah is a key to open my heart. Why? Mitzvotecha tirdof nafshi. That the mitzvot, I will desire to do them. You know, the best of the prayer is at the end, where people are already falling asleep. It's like in the prayer that all of the three prayers, that the highlight is the end, Alenu Shavech. That's the highlight, by the way. Most people don't even focus on the word. Read the words, or read it out loud. You'll see what powerful words. We're actually going to do a few classes on Alenu Shabbat. There's a reason why our sages put that in the end of the prayer of all prayers. Because this is one of the most powerful. That's when we're going to get to the tikkun of Chilul Hashem. Then we're going to have to, because somebody asked me today, we didn't learn anything about the Chilul Hashem yet. It'll take you a few more years to learn that. Let's start first of all with detoxing the junk out of your body, out of your mind. Then we'll talk about Chilul Hashem, desecrating the name of Hashem, and doing the tikkun for Chilul Hashem. What do you think? You're going to show up twice to a minyan, you finish with Chilul Hashem? You know that we can't even do a tikkun for Chilul Hashem in this world. A person has to die if a person did Chilul Hashem. Chilul Hashem is desecrating the name of Hashem. You cannot get atonement in this world. Has to be death. Death. That's why they died in Mount Sinai, because in order for them to receive the Torah, they all died. Hashem gave a sound, and all died. Their soul jumped out of their body. They had a clinical death, a near-death experience, came back to their body, mechayeh metim, and then they were able to receive the Torah. So that's, by the way, one of the greatest secrets to do tshuva, is you can suffer a physical death, then you need to take on yourself a spiritual death. So you spiritually get reborn, because then you get rid of all the junk. That's why the Arizal added to Kriyat Shema Lamita, accepting these 4 mitot beidin, the judgments of the beidin of dying. because I'm accepting on myself like as if I died. Because that way I can reach to a full atonement. We reached our cap. We have to pray now, Be'ezrat Hashem. I know many people are taking it very, very serious, and I'm actually very proud, and I see locally how people are taking it serious. And I know online a lot of people, many, many thousands registered to follow this journey. I know a lot of people are taking it serious. It's actually amazing to see that people are thirsty. You know, today, one of the girls that sits and goes through messages next to me, she was like, wow, it's just unbelievable how everybody's so thirsty. Everybody just give me something. So it's heartwarming. I know we're really making Hashem happy that He sees this action. Don't quit. Don't. Somebody today already, this young guy that was here. I almost didn't woke up today. I woke up in the morning. The Ezra told me, wake up at 8. You can find a minyan at 8. And I told him this is the third day. Are you ready? You don't want to show up? Don't give up so fast. Fight these 40 days. If you fight the 40 days, you'll win. You'll see a huge difference after 40 days. To be very persistent, like a machine, like Rocky Balboa and Rocky 4. You gotta take it to the top. Shem will help us. I know we're making Hashem very, very happy. You should be happy that we have the zchut even to do that. And B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should open our eyes and that we see the beauty of the Torah, the beauty of Hashem. And B'ezrat Hashem will continue growing, learning, ascending to a higher level. And I'm sure the result is going to be terrific.